What's going on, everybody? We're working on this IS350, working on the alternator. First of all, disconnect the battery, and then the wiring harness, 10mm, 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 a clamp right here. You unbolt it just to give it a little bit more wiggle room with a 10mm and an extension. As you can see right there, that's the power for the alternator. Once you get the power wire out of the way, that's straight access to the connector. This bracket, that makes it easier. If you need more space, you can also remove this bracket, and you can also remove the bracket over here. Right next to the connector, you see the wire, the clip. And now we're moving into the actual alternator removal. To make sure that the belt is the same size, because I have been in the scenario where the belt is not the right one and I'm in there trying to put it on, and if for some reason it's slightly shorter, then you will be just fighting it non-stop. So I've learned the hard way to just double check the size of the belt. Alright, so I got the idle pulley off, the belt off, and both 14mm loose from the alternator. Now, if you look at the alternator, it looks like that's the only two bolts holding it. Even if you look at the new alternator, you would think, oh yeah, that's the only two bolts holding it, right? Because you think, yep, one that goes through here, yep, one that goes through here. But when you realize, yes, this one goes through, and then you realize that this one doesn't go through, which means that there's a bolt holding it from the back. So this little bolt and bracket, it's two 12mm holding a bracket from the block to the alternator. Those two 12mm is what makes this job a pain in the ass. Like, if the alternator had a bolt going through at the top instead of at the bottom, instead of this weird bolt that goes from the back, this would be a very different story. So I have not put my hand in there, but normally whenever somebody works in these cars, that rocker is not put back on because the truth is that it's not really needed. And so if the alternator has been replaced already, then the bracket is going to be already off, which is going to make my life a lot easier. But if this is the first time the alternator has been replaced, the bracket's going to be there and I'm going to fight. So let's find out. So to get to that bolt, you can either get it from, I guess you could try to get it from underneath, but I normally just get it through here. And I think that it does have it. I'm gonna grab a mirror. That's right, it does has it. I'm gonna get a 1/4-inch ratchet with a 12mm. I'm gonna get that bolt off. Okay, so I got one of the bolts loose from the bracket. Now I remove the two bolts from the alternator, and now I can pry right here. Alright, so actually I didn't need to remove anything else. It was just a matter of finagling the alternator around there. So you have to be fighting the hose, the bracket, this wiring that wants to pull down on you. And then you just have to be careful with the AC line. And well, this stud is gonna be in your way quite a lot. Like if you wanna struggle less, just remove this stud and it will make your life a lot easier. So yep, now that the old alternator's out, let's put the new one in. All right, the alternator is in. Now, once you put the alternator back in, the main thing that you want to be careful is the wire that is on the side, right? This wiring that is on the side that goes into the AC compressor. You just want to make sure that you're not pinching the wires, that you're not getting stuck in them. That's pretty much it. And of course, when you're sliding the alternator in, same thing. Careful with the AC line, careful with the cooling hose. It does fit in there. You just need to find the right angle. If I'm correct, the back of the alternator faces this way and the pulley faces this way, and you can grab it from the pulley and angle it down and in the same way it comes out. Now I got the pulley tied, I got the 2/14 at the front tied. All I gotta do is connector, power, get all the wiring and the brackets back in place, put the belt back on, and we'll be pretty much ready to rock and roll. belt is back on. Now, every time, whenever I'm putting the belt, I've also learned the hard way that you need to make sure that you see that it's sitting properly and that you feel that it is sitting properly. Like, don't just go by one or the other, because there are areas where you cannot see. So you'll put your hands in there and you feel if it's fully seated or not. And there's some other areas where you cannot feel it, but you have to be able to see. So what happened there is that I had already put it on, and it looked like it was perfectly fine. But on one of the idle pulleys, it was not perfectly centered. And I kept pulling it, and it just kept moving back. Until I shined a light in there, I noticed that it was slightly off a tooth from the water pump at the bottom. And yeah, if you don't take your time, if you're not patient with it, you'll start the car and you'll just fuck up the belt. So I'm just gonna connect the battery. I'm gonna flip the truck around. We're gonna jump start it. I don't know if she left the keys in here or if she took them with her, but we'll find out. So let's get this set up, and then if I need to, I'm gonna call her.